Namaste, everyone. So today is, among other things, is the birth anniversary of our guru, one of our gurus, Lahiri Mahashaya. So if you don't know him yet, here, this is him here. He was born in the mid-1800s, and he was, unlike most gurus that we know of, he was a married man with a family, 2 children. He had a job as an accountant for a railroad, and he had what you would think of as a fairly ordinary life. Apparently, but not really, because he was actually a master. He, as I say, he was born in the mid-1800s, and he went to school and took his training and all of that. And as he worked for his job, he sometimes was given a vacation, and he had one time he had an opportunity to go to the Himalayas, which he did. And on a hike there, he met Babaji, our gurus. And Babaji told him about what he was doing, and he told him that he had been a disciple of his in many previous incarnations, and he initiated him into our practice of Kriya Yoga. Well, Kriya Yoga was usually preserved for only those people who were thought to have the time and ability and energy to devote to the practice of Kriya Yoga. In other words, those were people who were monastics, or at least single. And so, but Babaji told Lahiri that he should not only learn Kriya himself and practice it himself, but that he should teach it to others, anyone that he believed would qualify. So at that point, Lahiri Mahashaya asked him if the rules could be changed somewhat, so that anyone who sincerely wanted to learn Kriya Yoga could be given this technique. Babaji's answer was, "The Lord has spoken through you, be it so." So this is why you see many people here who in another time or era might not have that opportunity. And this is one of the several things that Lahiri Mahashaya has given us. It's given us this opportunity to practice this sacred technique that can take you to complete freedom, to complete liberation. He's given that to us. As I say, he had a family, had 2 children. There's grandchildren and so forth. We've met a couple of them. I guess they're great-grandchildren by now. But yes, we've met some of them. And it's very interesting to talk to someone like this that's actually a relative of one of our gurus. And yes, so we have met a couple of them in the past. And it's been very, very enlightening and very uplifting to be able to meet those kinds of people somewhere in our lives. That's not the only thing that he brought to us. He also brought to us the example of what a householder devotee could be. Most of the time, people would think, well, all of your energy has to go into taking care of your family. But he himself had this job, and he had a home that he took care of, and he had a family that he took care of. And so he spent usually, when he was still working at his job, he usually spent the evenings meditating and having guest students come and where he trained them in Kriya Yoga. Eventually, of course, he retired. And so by that time, then he was able to do this during the day. He had many, many students coming to him to his home and learning Kriya Yoga. He was the guru of Paramahansa Yoganandaji's parents. And the story is, a very sweet story, that when Yogananda was a baby, his mother took him to be blessed by Lahiri Mahashaya. And he said to her, he said, your son will be a spiritual engine carrying many, many souls to liberation. I think those words were not exact, but they're there. They're in the autobiography of the yogi. Look it up. And so he was, as I said, he was the guru for both of Paramahansa Yogananda's parents. And they often went to visit him, and Yogananda along as well. And so we have not only sort of a line of gurus that is a spiritual, just a spiritual line, but also, you know, they were friends, so to speak. He went there often, and in a way, it was almost as though they were actual relatives on the point. And so those are two of the important things that were brought to us by Lahiri Mahashaya. The third one that I'm going to mention is, in the autobiography, there is a chapter which is entitled The Christ-like Life of Lahiri Mahashaya. And I was looking at that the other day and I thought, now, what is it about him that is like Christ? You know, Christ lived a couple thousand years ago, and he lived in another part of the world, in a different culture, and he, anyway, it didn't make a lot of sense to me. And so I looked at it, and I found some other writings about Lahiri Mahashaya. And I see what it was. The writer, I think this was Yogananda who was writing this one, he said that Christ brought a very expansive view of religion. Up until that time, it had been very narrow and very sort of judgmental. And as we know, if we read the Bible, we learn all kinds of stories about how kind he was to children and how other people who were being criticized. And so Christ taught an expansive view of religion. Well, then when Lahiri Mahashaya came, what he brought was a way of us, ourselves, expanding our consciousness through the practice of Kriya Yoga. And so those are two of the ways, or three of the ways, that Lahiri Mahashaya blesses us. Those are three of the things that we have been brought, that we can work with, that can take us closer and closer to that goal that we're all looking for, that goal of fundamental freedom.